The second one basically is, where do you see network marketing industry today, considering the rise of forex trading, drop shipping, e-commerce, affiliate marketing? So I know you did some comparisons about YouTube. I'm sure you did affiliate marketing as well. So I want to know your insight on that. Is still network marketing, like I would say, kick ass against all the other industries out there?
Yeah, I would just reword that is from everything that you said there was, is network marketing still relevant? Is it still good or better? Okay, or is it equal? And Iman, that is a very deep question that you ask, because I can just answer it and say, yeah, but that's not going to put any meat on the bones, if you will. So why is it relevant? How is it relevant? And is it better? And why is it better if it is better? And so I have, I put together a whole bunch of slides, just curious about what you're going to ask me. So let's go all the way back to the very simple. And that is, what is the purpose of business? Whether it's mowing yards, raking leaves, or whatever it is. So people are here. So they're at A, and they want to go to B, which is a transformation of some kind. Okay. And what is between A and B? Well, friction, confusion, failure, lost hope. All right. And that friction is what causes all of these other problems, right? So there's friction. So it seems logical that a person can just go from A to B, but evidently they can't, because they're still stuck with it. Take weight loss. Take, like almost any topic, skincare. Somebody has, like pimples out of control, or they have, like scaling skin, things like that. And so they're trying to get from A to B, right? That's all that's ever happening, right? And how we make people's lives better is to solve their frictions and confusions, right? Does that make sense to you, Iman?
Yes, absolutely. Yep.
So that's simplicity of all of businesses. All right. So now, when someone is looking, you call them side hustles, and I would say side hustles or a decision to do a business. Okay. And I sat down one time on this Jamboard, and I just listed every single thing about all product-based businesses. I'm not talking about service-based business, cutting hair, manicures, things like that. I'm not talking about. I'm talking about product-based businesses. And I prefer them because a person cutting hair is going to spend a quantity of time and get paid for the quantity of time. And so he's limited by time. I don't want limitations. I'd rather have something that I can have 10 million copies of it at a manufacturer's plant and sell it to 10 million people. That's my thinking on this. It's a higher quantity. And so if you'll just look at the left-hand side here, there is a business called Raw Resources. And that is where you're going to have big dump trucks, you're going to have bulldozers, and you're going to have backhoes. You're going to have all these kinds of things because they are mining sand, concrete, soil, ore, oil, gold, diamonds, trees, animals, water. Okay, so that's Raw Resources. I could be in that business if I wanted to. All right. And any of you could. And then you take the raw resources and you move it over into manufacturing. And so that's where they're going to make glass. They're going to make phones. They're going to make bottles, jars, milk, cream, meat, lavender, herbs, veggies, vitamins, fuel, plastic, rubber, jewelry, yarn, all of that is where manufacturing is. I could be in the manufacturing business. All right. But the margins are so small in there that they require like a 10,000 minimum, like I created a brochure one time, and he said, okay, so our minimum quantity is 5,000. I'm like, what? I was just wanting to hand out some flyers, and so from there, you move over into branding. And that is all your legal work, your licensing, your packaging, the countries you're going to be doing it in, and the languages that are there, and so forth. So I could be in the branding business. And then there is another business, which is warehousing, where they pick the product off the shelf, they pack it up, they ship it to different countries. I could be in that business. And then there is customer service from the standpoint of returns, complaints, restocking, shipping, multiple countries. Okay. And so I could be in that business. And there is another business that I could be in, and that is the sales side. And so there's basically 3 categories there. There is bricks. Okay. So that's, our wood store. It's your typical store. All right. And then there is the online store. E-commerce is what it's typically called now. And then there's a sales rep. And the reason that I have that highlighted in green is because it is, to me, the very best place to be if you want to be an entrepreneur. All right. So in all countries, you acquire customers, you serve customers, you get the highest margins, and you have the most security. Let me explain that most security thing. I guarantee you, a lot of emphasis is put on a CEO, Chief Executive Officer. But there's only one group that is going to be bringing business in. Okay. Who's swiping the credit card? And it is the sales rep. And so I assure you, the last person to leave a company that's going down is the sales rep. Okay. So the janitor's going to be let go. The secretary's going to be let go. The Treasury Department's going to be letting go. All of them is going to be gone. But the sales rep is the only person swiping credit cards. Okay. And so that is why you have the most security if you're in the sales business. All right. And so then there is highest margins. So the reason I wouldn't want to be in any of these categories is because they have very small. Okay. So yes, the shipping has good margins. However, each one of those is a different one. Okay. So there is, different shipper from raw resources to manufacturing. There's a different shipper from manufacturing to branding and so forth. And so they're not all combined together is what I'm trying to say. So that's not a business that I would want to be in. And so, and the other thing that I like about it is I get the most feedback from the customer. And so I get to experience their wins. And when they don't have wins, I get to take that back to the company and say, hey, change this. We need to change this, that kind of thing, right? So now you get the whole idea about categories of business. And so what I want to do is I want to partner with some company that's going to do all of that other stuff, all right, including the customer service on the complaint side. And I just want to serve, all right, serve the customer. That's all I want to do. I want something big, all right? I don't want, so when you talked about affiliate programs and drop shipping and stuff like that, most of those things, Iman, they are taking they already exist and they're putting their label on it. They call it white labeling. And so how stable is that? That's just kind of like a one-off kind of business. And you don't have this big machine over there that has a product department that gets the good resources, gets the good manufacturing, and so forth. And so they are the ones that I depend upon, and they depend upon me. All right. So that's the reason that I think that typical e-commerce, I'm not talking about Amazon, and I'm not talking about Walmart. I'm talking about the side hustles you can do. Okay. And so I don't feel as though a lot of those are stable enough and long-term enough. That's the way that I feel about that. Okay. So when I say that I want to be in the sales business, I I have refined this, simplified this to a large degree. And if you look over on the left-hand side, it's a lead, generate a lead. There's 4 ways to generate a lead. You reach out to somebody you know, you reach out to people that you don't know, you post content on social media, and you advertise. That's all there is, and that's all there'll ever be. Okay, that's just it. All right. And so it's simple. Okay, generate a lead. And then you just move that lead one category over, one column over. You contact them and you set an appointment for them to see a presentation. All right. Presentations are pretty simple. You can send them a video. You can get on a Zoom with them. You can sit down in a coffee shop with them. You can invite them to your home or you go to their home. You can go to an event such as a hotel event or something like that. And a lot of times we have clinics where, maybe the person is a therapist or something like that. And so they go to a clinic. All right. And then you follow up with them. And this is not scamming. This is not spamming. This is just legitimate care about a prospect. All right. So all of that is the activities that you do before you get paid. And so then when they become a customer or they become a rep, a distributor, a brand, whatever you want to call them, that's where you get compensated. Okay. And so then there is a not interested category. Of course. There's that I buy and there's things that I don't buy. I'm not interested in those things. And so I just put them in the not interested category for now, maybe later. All right. So people think, it's ironic, Iman. People think that that network marketing is different in the way outreach happens. Okay, so how do you generate a lead? Any company, all right, every business on planet Earth has those same 4 options: warm outreach, cold outreach, post content, and advertise. And so we all are doing the same thing. I just got back from Florida, going to the airport. Every wall is littered with advertisements. Even in the seatback tray in front of me, it's advertisements. Everything is advertisements. Okay. And so whether it's a doctor, whether it's a grocery store, whether it's a restaurant, employees, everybody has to do the pipeline. All right. And so let's go off of business. Every organization, every church has to do the pipeline. Every sports team has to do it. Okay. So how does a college get a football player to their college? They go out warm market. Okay. They go out and they talk to the guidance counselors at high schools, government. Okay. You drive down any street in this month, you're going to see people standing out there with signs. Vote for governor, vote for treasury, vote for blah, blah, blah. Okay. That's doing the pipeline. And every person has to do it, Iman. Nobody gets married if they didn't do the pipeline.
Yes.
Nobody gets a friend if they don't do the pipeline. All right. And so neighbors, you walk over and it could be not to sell something. It could just be to invite that person to something or to just meet them. All right. And so any job that you've ever gotten, there's pipeline on both sides. Somebody had to run the ad or be, monster.com or whatever kind of thing that you're doing, but everybody has to do the pipeline. Everybody. Okay. So the only way that I got my wife was to do the pipeline. I didn't advertise for her. It happened to be a warm outreach with a friend. Okay. That's it. Okay. So that's how so Iman, if I were to say there was, I believe that doing the pipeline, if you learn it, there's no better business in the world. Okay. And so I can't think of any other trade I would do that has the most enjoyment and the most profit, most income. That's it. The pipeline is it. All right. And so then it's just a matter of what industry are you going to go into? Okay. I can sell tractors. I can sell anything. Right. But network marketing, as I'll show you, has a whole lot more to offer. Okay. So I'm going to do a little bit of differentiation for you. And differentiation is intelligence. If someone can't tell the difference between HTTP and HTTPS, then they are uneducated. If they can't see the difference between a website and an email, then they're stupid in that category. I'm not invalidating anybody. I'm just trying to show you something very simple. And that is differences is how you become intelligent. Okay. So here I've got an example. All right. A real estate agent in the United States, the average home is $225,000. Okay. And that commission is going to be about $5,000. Now it's going to require that real estate agent to show 17 people the house in order to sell one home. Okay. And that means there's 31 leads across the pipeline to sell one home. Okay. All right. If that same person wanted to make $50,000 a year, then they're going to have to move, they're going to have to sell 10 homes, and they're going to have to move 310 leads across the pipeline. If you want to sell 20 homes, you got to move 720 leads across the pipeline. And if you want to make $1 million, you have to 10x that. Okay. And so you're going to be what? 1,200 leads across the pipeline each year, because homes are not residual. Okay. Once you sell them, you're done with that. Okay. They're not going to move probably for another 5 years or more. And so you start all over again. So that is why I come back to that category of product-based businesses. I want something that they consume and they love. Okay. All right. So now let me contrast that. So I know my math. Okay. And so I brought in 40 customers. Okay. So this had to do with weight loss in this particular category. And by building a team and those customers getting results and wanting to also do what I did, I ended up in 7 years with almost 37,000 customers. Okay. Those were not mine. I only got 40 customers, but that multiplied 92,000%. That's an exponential factor that affiliate marketing does not have. Okay. So any other of those, so whether you're selling on Amazon or whatever. Okay. All right. So how about brand partners that I got? I got 129 brand partners and it turned into 41,000. That's a 32,000% exponential factor. Exponential is very misunderstood and very unrelated. People say compound interest is one of the greatest things in the world. No, exponential factor. Okay. This is an exponential factor. It compounds over years. All right. So, let's convert that into hours. So why? Because a lot of people come up and they say, oh, I don't have time to do network marketing. And I say, you should do network marketing because you don't have time, because they're doing it all themselves. Okay. So they get a job, they work 8 hours, and then they come home and they have to help with the kids, do their homework and blah, 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 and all of that. Right. So, but if you just took my 41,000 brand partners and you multiplied, if they only worked 1 hour in a year, I get paid on 41,000 hours a year. I can't do that myself. That's an exponential factor. Okay. The average person has 8,760 hours in a year, and that's if they don't sleep. Okay. So if I can get 41,000, so everything else outside of network marketing can't compare to this. So is network marketing relevant? Yes. Is it better? Yes, because of the exponential factor. Right. And then when you have consumable products, then if that customer stays on that, then you get that reoccurring income. I mean, I've had a high 6 over 500,000 a year to 7-figure income for 35 straight years. This is not a side hustle. It started out as a side hustle, but 35 years of a high 6 to 7-figure income with somebody who had no education at all in this until they did get the education in this. So that's one of the reasons that I just think there's nothing better. Okay. So most businesses are always trying to scale. Okay. So this word scale is confusing to a lot of people, but it isn't once you look at this slide. Okay. So what other businesses try to do is to increase customers without increasing expenses. That's the idea of scaling. Okay. So I'll show that to you in just a minute. I'm just going to show some comparisons to other industries. So network marketing versus real estate. And 11 times more people make $100,000 in network marketing than in real estate. YouTube influencers, these people who are dogging and cutting down network marketing. Yeah. So 79 times more people in network marketing make $100,000 than YouTubers. Okay. Actors, entertainers, and musicians versus network marketing, 14 times. How do I know these numbers? Well, you have to get a congregation of statistics in order to do the comparison. And I just happen to know a high-level entertainer, and he put me into the group that has all of the statistics. Okay. Network marketing versus Amazon sellers. 2 times more people make $100,000 than if you're an Amazon seller. And I'm now seeing that Amazon sellers are getting cut if they don't have 5 million in a week in sales. Okay. So your side hustle person can't play that game anymore. And also, I have watched it over the years because I'm a stock trader, and I have watched it over the years. They keep lowering the percentage that you get selling the product. Okay. And it's a different model. So you're not doing the pipeline in that one. You're the manufacturing and branding. Okay. All right. So in America, 33.3 million small businesses, 27.1 million are managed by a sole owner, employing no one. Okay, there's your side hustles. Because they don't know how to scale, or they chose a business that can't scale. The goal of scaling is to increase income without increasing expenses at the same rate. Okay, I'm going to walk you through this because I think this is for your audience very, very valuable. Okay, so take Anytime Fitness. That's on the left-hand side. Okay, so what do? So they rent a space in a busy area, and then they're going to get a call center to generate leads. Okay, so they are splitting the pipeline here. So a call center is going to set appointments, period. All right. And so then on the right-hand side, that person is the salesperson. They're going to walk them through the exercises and machines and things like that and try to sell them on a membership. Okay. Got that? Is that pretty clear?
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
So let's say they contact 100 people a day. 10 people see the gym. They're going to get 1 to 2 customers. Make sense?
Yep.
All right. So what is the cost of acquisition? It will basically be how much do they have to pay the call center, and do 2 customers pay for that? Okay. So that's always their metrics they're trying to figure out. Okay. That's the cost of acquisition. So both of those cost money to have that salesperson there. He's going to get a commission. And you also have the cost of acquisition in terms of generating the lead. All right. So now we go to get another appointment setter. Contact 100 people a day. 10 people see the gym, 1 to 2 customers. Okay. So what happened there? You 2 times your contacts, therefore you 2 times your presentation, therefore you 2 times your income. Okay. So when you look at this, you had to double your cost of acquisition in order to double your income. That's the reason these businesses can't scale. Okay, that's the reason. And so in my mind, when I think about network marketing compared to this, I bring in somebody into the business, I train them, and what's my cost of acquisition? If I'm running ads, if I'm running ads, I have a bit of it because I'm doing the pipeline. I'm setting the appointments and things like that, right? But I don't have the rent of the building. I don't have another salesperson that I have to pay. The company pays that person. Okay. So we are only paid for acquisition. All right. All right. So here's how network marketing scales. So here's you in the orange box there. And those 4 little things up there with a C on them, those are customers. So you acquire customers. And you can pretty much finance any marketing that you want to do by just doing this. Okay. And so then I bring in number 1, and I teach that person to get customers, and I bring in number 2, and that person. Now those people are basically scaling my business, and they're scaling their own business. All right. I'm not taking money from number 1 or number 2. The company is paying. So that's what is the big difference here. All right. So I'm not renting a building, small inventory, if any, no employee salaries, no tax withholding, no accounts receivable, no accounts payable. Those are costs that people don't really even look at. And then it's a small cost of acquisition, if any, and you get paid for customer acquisition. You get paid for your team's acquisitions. Okay. Because you were the ones that brought them to. All right. So there's 2 acquisition pathways. So let's go on the right-hand side first. You are in the center. Okay, so there's a customer pathway. All right, so that customer, you get a customer. Okay, all right. So they get results from the products. I like to use this as a franchise comparison. So there are people who want to sell. So, and you know that because if you go into a franchise type restaurant, you have people working there and they're getting paid by the hour to sell burgers or whatever it is, tacos or whatever, right? And so there's people who want to do that. That's all that they can see for right now. All right. But then on the other side, the partner pathway, that is where you show a business person how money is being made by customer acquisition. Okay. And so then that person says, I want to buy a franchise, if you will. And that is network marketing. So then that person comes in and then he buys the franchise, if you will. So he'll get an array of products so that he knows what the products are. And then he starts helping people do customer pathways. All right. And so then he might say to his friend, hey, you know what? I'm making a whole lot of money with this thing. And so that's the 2 different pathways of how we acquire. Okay. So there you go.
Let me just ask about, I'm not ask, I want to comment on this specific point, which is the last slide, because there's this, how do you call that? Concept where some people in network marketing, I would say a lot of them, would think, okay, so my job is just to bring in new people. It's basically like if you're in a franchise business, you're just selling franchises and no customers. So how can you make money without customers? So I believe with this slide, it's so obvious that you really have to have the customers for you to be able to have other franchisees in a way to help you sell as well, just like you. So I think, with that said, network marketing is no different than this concept of franchises, right?
Correct. Now, there are people who decide that they don't want to get customers. Okay, and I'm gonna divide this up a little bit. Okay, so I'm glad you brought it up. From a regulation standpoint, either one of these are good. Okay, either one of these are good. Okay, and what I'm talking about in America, we have the Federal Trade Commission, and I've seen them try to navigate this where you can't just sell a business. Oh, yes, you can. Oh, yes, you can. It happens all the time. There are people 100% committed to selling franchises. Okay, there are. All right. And just in my own personal way, I don't want to sell a franchise that I don't see any customers. Okay, that's just me though, because I know it's a longer term business if customers are getting happy. Okay, that's just basically the thing. So okay, so now I'll answer your question that you asked me long time ago. Is it relevant today? I think it's more relevant than it's ever been. Okay, it's more relevant. I mean, how can you argue with somebody who has had 35 years of high income, 6-figure income to 7-figure income for 35 years? 18 of those years, I didn't work at all, but I still got my check every single month. Sometimes I would get $30,000 increases because they opened a new country and my team was still building. Okay. And so I can pass this on to my family, my check. All right. I'll train up my boys to do the pipeline because that's all there is. Right. So now you can see it is relevant. All right. So now I'm going to divide a bit on, because you brought up Forex. Okay. So whether you're trading commodities such as currencies and things like that, or Bitcoin, or any of the crypto, I prefer, and I'm not cutting anybody down, I prefer something that someone must have. And I have stock traded basically since I retired in 1995. I have traded stocks. And I have gone bust 3 times. 3 times. Lost it all. Okay. What brought me back? My network marketing check. Okay. And so I don't want to give people that kind of a failure, because like I got really good at it, and I make and made a lot of money, but I went bust 3 times. And because everything that you're buying, somebody is selling.
Yes.
Because they don't want it. If they thought it was really going to go up bigger than that, they would never sell it. And so stock trading is, any seller thinks he's selling it to a stupid person. Right?
Yes.
He wouldn't sell it if he thought it was going to go much higher. Okay? That's just the way that I look at that. There's always somebody trading on the other side of whatever I'm buying or whatever I'm selling. Okay?
Yeah. And that's another reason why network marketing is more ethical, in my opinion. Yeah.
Yep. I think so too, because you're making somebody's life better, okay, with a product.
Yeah. Absolutely.